That it certainly didn't find a Fulham colleague. It's De Bruyne again for Manchester City, and that's a glorious ball to the left-hand side. And the ball's now inside the penalty area with Jesus. Back to Delph, on to Danilo, and taken up by Diaz to the right of the penalty area. Played back to Stones. Stones crosses in there. Sané's header was limp, easily saved.
Yeah, he's made the wrong decision there. The ball's played into him. He probably could chest it down there. Instead he goes for a header, which is bordering on impossible from that angle.
Well, Danilo seemed to foul Schürrle from the back. Referee saw nothing wrong with it. Anyway, it's won back by the defender, and Fulham clear it. Nice touch by Kearney to the left side. On it goes to Mitrovic, into Schürrle, and Schürrle to the far side of the field. Vieto. Now they've got players coming forward in white shirts into the penalty. Oh, the shot ignored the colleagues, and it was straight at goalkeeper Muric.
No, you make a good point there. He can't really ignore his colleagues there. How often are they going to get up the field there? 4 against 4. Kearney had actually made his way up there as well. He was in the D. Obviously get Mitrovic in there. Schürrle had made the run as well, and that's, even though it is a shot on target, it was never going to trouble the goalkeeper, and I don't think that was the right decision.
Quarter of an hour gone. You're listening to 5 Live in the BBC. Manchester City 0, Fulham 0 in the 4th round of the League Cup. Here's Diaz. Oh, Diaz did well. He fooled the defender, and then the defender, the fullback, Sessegnon, used his bulk to get in the way again, and it's behind for a goal kick.
It's a tough one. Certainly for Brahim Diaz, because he has to be special if he's going to try and get himself into this team. But it's tough for him. He doesn't get that many opportunities, but also he's up against Sessegnon, and Sessegnon on good form is a super player. He's not maybe being as good form this season as he was last, but he's a fine player.
Sané for Manchester City, crosses low, cleared by Odoi, and now it's directed to Schürrle. Schürrle just short of the centre circle for Fulham. Put his central defender in a spot of bother there, but he gets the ball back, and now it's played to Fosu-Mensah on the far side, the right fullback. Infield it goes to Anguissa. Anguissa plays a 1-2, then he finds Schürrle. Schürrle breaks forward. Oh, the pass was overhit, and Schürrle's very frustrated.
Nice play though, neat little 1-2s. I mean, a move there, Man City would be proud of themselves. And the player who looks most lively getting forward from that midfield area just now is André Schürrle. And if anyone's going to break the line and get beyond that Manchester City defence, it looks like it's going to be him. But how many times can he make that run if the ball doesn't come to him? So far he's made it 3 or 4 times. He should have been given it there far too long.
Company to Sané, onto Zinchenko, deep inside the Fulham half, crosses early, hits a defender, and ricochets behind for a corner kick to Manchester City.
It's all about decision making really, and you know that Manchester City have got players in that last third who generally make the right decisions. Obviously De Bruyne does it, but there's plenty of players in that team that are capable of opening the door, and you know that Fulham have got so few. They've got so few players in comparison who can do that, and they can create so few chances when they're there. It's going to be tough for them.
De Bruyne is going to take the corner from the left, right-footed in towards the near post and headed away and headed behind, I think, for another corner. Yes, it is indeed. The opening 17 and a half minutes thoroughly dominated by Manchester City. We expected that, of course. De Bruyne enriches the Premier League and every competition he plays in with his presence. Takes a corner short this time. Now it's back to Delph. Delph towards the far post. Company sort of knees it back. The shot driven in, and it's hooked into the net by Diaz. It took a deflection, but the young Spaniard has put Manchester City in front. It's Diaz's first goal for Manchester City. City 1, Fulham 0.
Well, there's a massive deflection there, but he keeps it down. That's the important thing. He keeps it down. It's almost in a half volley. Manchester City do not score many goals from corner kicks. So this time they decided not to play the long corner kick. They played a short one, eventually played it out along the 18-yard line, and when it was nodded down from the back post, well, it wasn't nodded, it was kneed down by Vincent Kompany. Not sure it was on target there when it was hit, so we shall wait and see if Diaz actually gets the goal given to him there. It was a massive deflection. It'd be harsh on him not to give him that goal. I would want to give him that.
Yeah, I think he's likely to get it.
Yeah,
I mean, it was heading towards the far post.
Yes.
And he will say, well, it was going inside the far post.
Oh, hit the inside of the far post and in. Yeah, I would argue that with him.
Manchester City lead 1-0. Now, can Fulham respond? The signs are, of late, that they won't be able to. Who knows? The ball's back with their goalkeeper Rico. Unfortunate there, he had no chance when the deflection happened. Now Kearney, the Fulham captain, onto Vieto on the far side of the field. Mitrovic furthest forward. Schürrle just behind him. It's played in towards Mitrovic. Deflects off company, bounces in the penalty area. The goalkeeper comes out and gathers it.
Muric actually looks quite impressive. He's very tall, really tall goalkeeper. So the balls into the box, he should be absolutely fine with them. But he's very lively off his line as well, and he wants to get involved in the play, which, if you're going to play under Pep, you're going to have to do that.
The pass from company to Stones wasn't great, but Stones reacted well and clears towards the halfway line. Now it's headed out of play by Anguissa, and it will be a Manchester City throw-in, 10 yards short of the halfway line. Danilo to take it. Back to Stones. By the way, one of those games coming up, two I'd mentioned, the home game against Shakhtar Donetsk, and then somebody called Manchester United will be playing here at the Etihad. Huge game, no matter the problems that United face at the moment, and no matter how good Manchester City are. Here's the goal scorer, Diaz, cutting in from the right side, playing it to Jesus. Lovely turn by Jesus. Leaves the defender for dead. Jesus plays it back. Goodness, that was almost a second goal for Diaz. Ball still in the penalty area. Diaz flicks it back to De Bruyne. De Bruyne to Danilo. Danilo drives it in deep towards Sani. Sani controls it onto his right foot, plays it back, and the shot was over the crossbar from Foden.
They're not going to go late, are they, Manchester City? If they get a goal here, another goal, it could be a very long night for Fulham, and they seem to be enjoying it now. It's taking any pressure there was off Manchester City, limited though that pressure was. And just watching Diaz now, his confidence has lifted so much since he got that goal. He's not been able to get round Sessegnon on the outside because he's not got the pace to do that. So he's being intelligent. He's going inside his full back there and playing little 1-2s. And by the way, the turn from Jesus before that was fabulous, wasn't it?
Beautiful. Unfortunately, it just took him into too acute an angle from which to shoot. Anyway, it's Manchester City leading Fulham by 1-0. The goal has been given to Diaz.
Good, I'm happy about that. Anyway, here's De Bruyne.
In the penalty area once more, searching for a second goal at Manchester City.
How does he do it? Every time you see Kevin De Bruyne is in a massive space. He's absolutely brilliant at running off players, knowing where the space is and where the ball should go.
Stones, great ball to Sani, into the penalty area. Sani, faced by defenders, taps it back, shot by Delph. Did it take a deflection? No, it didn't. It just squirts wide, and it's a goal kick to Fulham.
Yeah, you can't take your eyes off Manchester City for a moment, because it usually takes two passes and they're in a very, very dangerous position, and they're finding it impossible to stop the City for a moment, because usually Foden takes two passes and they're every time he gets the ball, his head's always up. He doesn't need to look at the ball, he knows where it is. They're looking very dangerous indeed. Maybe the only player you could maybe look at Sane, who's maybe holding on to it slightly too much, but apart from that, everyone seems to be flying.
Rico with a goal kick for Fulham. Mitrovic was beaten, but the ball deflected back into his presence. He didn't control it, and Manchester City have it once more with John Stones. It's just too easy for City at the moment.
To be fair, you mentioned that about Fulham, and Fulham fans might be getting a bit depressed about that, but don't worry. Just about every team that comes here gets the same treatment, and at the moment they're getting that treatment. They're not getting much of the ball, and I've already looked at the body language of Mitrovic.
Here's Kearney. The ball was given away by Stones. Kearney, the Scot, played back to Anguissa, on to Schürrle, onto his right foot, just outside the penalty area. Shoots, blocked by, guess who, De Bruyne. And De Bruyne again, on to Foden. Foden drives it through. Jesus chases after it. Good anticipation by Rico, the Fulham goalkeeper, well out of his penalty area to make the clearance, but it's clipped back by Delph to Diaz, the goal scorer again. Officially the goal scorer, though its shot did take quite a deflection. Delph on the halfway line. De Stones inside the centre circle. Zinchenko's down the left side, so too is Sani, but the ball goes towards the right, towards Delph. And on to Danilo. And Diaz, the man of the moment. That's if you ignore De Bruyne. Now Danilo forward into the penalty area, smacks the shot in. I think it clipped the outside of the post, but it was never actually threatening the goal properly in time for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was the angle of the post and the crossbar. Yeah. He has smashed it. Had it been maybe 6 inches inside, it would have went straight into the top corner there, but the keeper wouldn't have got anything there. But lovely move, and his willingness to get forward, and like a lot of other players in this City side tonight, he's He's not first choice in that position there, so he has to show that he can do that just as well as, you know, all the players were, two, at least one, sometimes two players in front of him. And if he's going to do that, he's going to have to overlap, and he overlapped well there.
Here's Sané, inside left position for Manchester City. Plays it to the left full-back. Zinchenko back to De Bruyne. And De Bruyne onto Foden. Zinchenko cutting in towards the edge of the penalty. He's inside the penalty area now. He was allowed to run 20 yards unchallenged, but his attempted cross rebounded off a defender. Back to Zinchenko. And here's De Bruyne. And the action is taking place a long way away from our commentary position because it's all deep inside the Fulham half, away to our right. Here's Delph. De Bruyne. All too easy for him. Back to Company. And Stones. Delph once more. Zinchenko's available but is ignored. Stones has the ball. And Stones just clips it to the right side to Diaz. Diaz takes it down off his chest. Back to Danilo. De Bruyne makes a run to the right. He's ignored. Not usually ignored. Here's Company. Over the halfway line on to Leroy Sané. Sané to Foden. Foden, well, I don't know what he was looking at there, Foden, because Sané hadn't made the run forward and the pass, as a consequence, went behind for a goal kick.
There's not many passes have actually gone astray. But I'm going to surprise you here, Alan. Percentage of play. What percentage do you think, according to the stats, have Manchester City got just now?
No,
I had my guess. I'll tell you my guess. My guess was 85%.
Right, well, the screen is to my left, but I'm not going to cheat. I'm just going to guess. I'll say 72.
Yeah, I think I'm so surprised. 65, it says, yeah. which is amazing considering it feels like total dominance from Manchester City just now. Having said that, they're 9 shots to 1 up at the moment. Oh no, that's changed 10-2.
Yeah, well, and they're a goal up at the moment, but their dominance is such that you expect them to score further goals. Ball's back with Rico, the Fulham goalkeeper. To say the least, he's much the busier of the two goalkeepers. Muric has had nothing to do. I think one catch. Yeah. Ball's out of play, throw in to be taken for Fulham by Fosu Mensah, the right back. Ignored the player, ran towards him initially and threw it straight onto the head of Delph, and Delph heads it out of play again. So Fulham have gained about 10 yards after a weak throw-in. 27 minutes gone here in 5 Live. Manchester City 1, Fulham 0. De Bruyne on to Jesus. Was that a foul? Yes, it was a foul, and it's a free kick.
Really clever there, Jesus. It's the importance of getting the ball the other side of the defender. It doesn't matter, you know, if you're right-footed or left-footed, you make sure the ball is the far side of the defender, and he managed to get a free kick. And what you would often think is not too dangerous a position because it's quite far out.
Except
exactly
De Bruyne. Well, it's certainly over 30 yards with the angle. De Bruyne just talking to Zinchenko. And De Bruyne, you guess, is saying, little one, go away, leave it to me. Though I've seen Zinchenko smack a free kick or two in his time. It's, well, they've got everybody back, Fulham. Beware. De Bruyne's right foot or Zinchenko's left foot. It's De Bruyne. De Bruyne drills it down, goodness gracious, it dipped late, but just dipped over the crossbar.
Well, dipped is one way of describing it. What else was going on with that ball there? It looked as if it was going to go 6 feet over the bar, and then it just changed direction completely. How on earth they got that amount of I have no idea.
Terrible defending by Fulham, giving the ball away. Jesus has it now on the right side. What a wasteful goal kick that was by the visitors. De Bruyne playing it back to Company on the halfway line. And the captain on to Zinchenko. Wide to Sané on the left side. That's the far side as we look at it. City attacking the end to our right in the first half. Back to Zinchenko and Stones. Everybody bar Muric is inside the Fulham half. Diaz to De Bruyne. De Bruyne challenged. Didn't lose it, of course. Finds a colleague with a pass, and De Bruyne gets the ball back inside right channel. Back to Delph. Delph pulls off the tackle made to him. And on it goes to the right to Diaz. Diaz back to Delph. Delph sees Danilo. Danilo back to Stones. Stones is 20 yards over the halfway line, the central defender for Manchester City. his pass to the right side to Diaz, back to Danilo. Danilo in towards Diaz again, but that was good marking by Sessegnon. But has the defender responded? Is Ream going to clear the ball finally? No, he doesn't. It's taken off him by Diaz. Here's De Bruyne. De Bruyne whips the ball in towards the near post. Cleared, not finally by Fulham, but it is knocked back by Zinchenko into his own half. And here's Muric with the first difficult pass he's had to deal with all night.
Yeah, and he's come up
equal to it.
He's 40 yards outside his goal there. You know, he's on message. He's doing exactly what you have to do as a Manchester City goalkeeper.
Yeah, under Guardiola without question. Joe Hart treated respectfully, but and ultimately discarded by Guardiola. He wants an Ederson.
Yeah.
Ball played towards the right side, but little Diaz only kept it in play with his forehead, and not before it crossed the touchline. It's going to be a throw-in to Fulham.
It's intriguing. I'm quite impressed with Diaz so far, apart from the goal. The fact that, you know, he's not going to have great pace, but you don't actually need... If you're David Silva, who's not got great pace, it doesn't matter. You can make sure that you can get yourself in really good positions and make sure you're intelligent with the ball. And he's shown tonight that he's willing to change it, mix it up a bit, and actually he's just gone and tackled the centre-back and won it. So he's definitely doing different things.
They've tried to play the ball out as much as they can, Fulham, from defence. Sometimes it gets them into trouble. That pass almost found De Bruyne, but De Bruyne can only put it out of play for a throw into Fulham, which will be taken by Sessegnon from too far forward. He's told to retreat by Martin Atkinson, the referee. Quarter of an hour left in the first half. Given their dominance, it's surprising it's still only 1-0 to Manchester City.
Yeah, but they're used to it, aren't they? You know, there's plenty of games they play. But if they keep on playing in this style, more chances will come. The opposition should tire, and it should open up even more for Manchester City. That's why they play this way, just to exhaust teams physically and mentally.
Foden tackle, loses the ball. That's a nice touch by Siri, and then it's quickly on. Vieto is cut in from the right side, on to Schürrle. Schürrle approaching the Manchester City penalty area, but passes instead to Sessegnon, whose cross was blocked by Danilo, and it goes out of play for a throw into Fulham. Danilo waits to take it. Schürrle's available, but so too is Siri. It's back to Sessegnon. He's won another throw in. They haven't made any progress though. Now the throw goes back to Schürrle. And Schürrle to Ream. And now for a marked change, everybody bar the Fulham goalkeepers in the Manchester City half. There's a long ball played up towards Schürrle, but a combination of Danilo and Stones puts it out of play, and it's a throw into Fulham once more.
Well, I'm not going to call it sustained pressure, but it's the best period that they've probably had the game in the opposition half here, Fulham. And it's good to see Sessegnon getting in the other half. He's playing left full back tonight, sometimes plays further upfield, but as a player, he loves to attack from that deep defensive position. He's not had enough chances tonight, obviously.
I mean, to their credit, it's the first time I've seen Fulham in the flesh this season. They do try to play the game, don't they? You know, it's quite nice football, but it's just when the passing move breaks down and players of the likes of De Bruyne get onto it, danger. Here's Schürrle into the City defender. Mitrovic turns, shoots, rebounds off a defender. Has that gone out of play? Oh, goal kick. Mitrovic glares at Martin Atkinson.
Yeah, they've worked so hard to get up the field there, and you know, it's a good ball in there. I mean, Schürrle, when he gets the ball, he showed great energy. He's worked really hard tonight already, getting into great positions. He's covering so much ground, and you just wonder if he can last the entirety of the match. And by the way, the referee's got that call absolutely
double
right.
Ricochet, hit company, and then rebounded.
Did this to every single team last season.
Went out of play.
No, they passed them off the field. Their possession was there every single week. They scored goals. They were full of confidence. You step up when you play against the big boys, and I know it's a League Cup game, and you think, right, okay, it's not Premier League. We're not searching for 3 points. We can take our time, but you still have to do something with that football. You just mentioned they can't get out their own half. The fullbacks are making runs. They've got into the Man City's half on 2 or 3 occasions. But they must be thinking in the back of their mind, if I give this ball away, I've got to run back 70, 80 yards. How many times do you want me to do that in 90 minutes? They're going to be absolutely shattered, chasing around.
Kearney has managed to sweep it out to Schürrle on this near side. He's attacking the Manchester City penalty area now. He goes on the outside, Danilo, pulls it back. Mitrovic turns. The effort is blocked, comes off Delph, goes out and away. It's a goal kick, according to Martin Atkinson, the referee. Looked for all the world as if it was going to go out for a corner, but he's a lot closer to it than we are, Martin Atkinson, and he was pretty certain, as was Fabian Delph, that was going out for a goal kick. You're listening to Talk Sport. And we are at the Etihad Stadium tonight watching Manchester City lead Fulham by a goal to 0. Tomorrow night, Aston Villa against Bolton is on TalkSport 2 from 7:45. The game kicks off. We've got live build-up from 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Matchday Live returns with Adrian Durham on Saturday, 1 o'clock, as he brings you all the goals that go in from the Premier League and right across the EFL and the National League as well. Over on TalkSport 2 at 3 o'clock, West Ham Burnley. John Motson will be behind the mic with Alvin Martin. And then at 5:30 on TalkSport, Arsenal against Liverpool is live, followed swiftly afterwards by Wolves against Tottenham. Here is Kevin De Bruyne just weaving his way through the defence of Fulham. It comes to Sane from Foden. He lashes the ball over the top of the crossbar from 7 yards out. It was a lovely move. De Bruyne started it on that left-hand side, waltzing into the box. He went round Timothy Fosu-Mensah, got into the area, laid it off to Foden. The return came back to Sane. He set the ball up and it just popped up in front of him before he hit it. And that's why he ended up not getting the perfect contact. It went over the top of the crossbar.
And it all starts from Dennis Odoi in his own 18-yard box, trying to play a ball into the central midfield area. Kevin De Bruyne pounces on it. 3 or 4 passes later, Leroy Sané gets himself on the end of it and should actually hit the target and possibly should score. It is Fulham just making mistake after mistake after mistake, which you didn't see from them last season. But again, I said, we're playing against one of the top sides in European football now. You've got to be more precise with your passing. If you don't think it's on, don't play it.
I think, what you said earlier is ringing true, isn't it? It's not one of those days where you would expect Manchester City to have to be at their best. It's a Carabao Cup tie on a Thursday night. They played on Monday night. They'll play on Sunday as well. They're in a huge run of fixtures at the moment, but they're all working incredibly hard to win the ball back. They're all thrashing around, making sure that Fulham can't find a rhythm in the game. You've got workhorses out there who you wouldn't expect to have that tag associated with them, in Kevin De Bruyne, for example, who's just been absolutely brilliant in the game so far. Company's first to every ball when it comes in his direction. He's certainly not giving any quarter, and none is being asked of him. Here is Foden down the right side, looking for Diaz, trying to get into a right wing position. He can't reach it this time. It goes out of play, and because of the exuberance of Vincent Kompany, there is a problem over on the far side. I think is that Tim Fosu-Mensah who's gone down over on that far side, and he's just being checked on by Alex Zinchenko. Pause in play. Should we go down to the touchline and hear from Dom McGuinness for the first time? In fact, don't worry about the microphone, Dom. You could probably just shout it from there, can't you?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I think he's okay now, by the way. Zinchenko has just helped him back up his feet. Incidentally, it's a rare run out, obviously, for Alex Zinchenko. His number 1 fan will be in Manchester next week. That is a certain Alexander Usyk, preparing to face Tony Bellew. He's been talking about meeting up with his old mate Zinchenko when he's back over here, so be interesting for him. But everyone back on their feet, all is well.
Cheers, Dom. Dom with us tonight, and I'm sure he'll be part of our boxing coverage over the next few weeks as well. That is a big fight, which of course we've got on TalkSport. We've got all the big fights on TalkSport. Here is Muric, forward to Kompany. He runs up towards the centre circle. Here is Stones out to Danilo. Cricket starting again soon as well on TalkSport 2. And remember, they got that cracking podcast. I don't know if you've downloaded it yet. The following on from Sri Lanka, where the boys are at the moment, bringing you all the coverage as the winter tour unfolds. Here is Muric, the goalkeeper, away to our left-hand side. It's a little bit warmer in Sri Lanka at the moment than it is here, although there's a lot more rain from what I've been seeing. Yeah.
Well, I believe so, Sam.
The first test starts on Tuesday, 4:30 in the morning. Mickey Gray will be on the way to the gym at that time.
No, I won't. No, I definitely won't.
You told me you've been getting up a lot earlier.
Yeah, I have, but not go to the gym.
Here is Sane down the left side, skating forward. He tries to bring Gabriel Jesus into possession. He does that and then sends it on, looking for Sane to chase. He's not going to reach it. It's gobbled up by Rico away to our right hand side. If you're Slavisa Jokanovic, what are you going to do at half time? You're just going to be absolutely delighted that it's only 1-0.
Absolutely, yeah. Took the words out of my mouth. He's quite happy. As poor as Fulham have been in this first 45 minutes, it's 1-0. they're still in this tie. And that's what he'd be saying to his players. Look, you know, give us an extra 10 or 15%. We might actually get something out of this game. We might get ourselves in it and find ourselves in the quarterfinals. But it's all about the players putting in that effort of trying to do something on the ball. And when you haven't got the ball, working hard to try and keep a clean sheet. Well, that's gone now. They've already conceded that goal. So that record continues. But the manager's got to try and find something. Get the ball to Mitrovic, because the football that they're playing isn't happening for them. They're giving it away in stupid areas. I think the manager's got to get to a point in the game where he's going, look, forget about playing out from the back. Why don't we try and get the ball up to Mitrovic, get our wide players, push forward, and see if we can make something happen in Man City's half. Ask questions of their back four, because at the moment nothing's happening. It's too easy for Man City. It's like a practice match for them.
No, it's so easy for Manchester City.
Without a doubt. You know, the football, the movement, but take nothing away from Man City, Sam, because their work ethic hasn't changed.
And they deserve to make it easy. They deserve to make it easy for themselves by the way that they apply themselves and what they do. That's an excellent tackle from Kevin De Bruyne, running back to the centre circle. He dives in when maybe you'd think that he was never going to win that. It was a perfectly timed tackle, and he takes it off Vieto, and it goes back to Vincent Kompany, and they start to build from the back again. And there's a very small smattering of supporters that sing "Oh, Kevin De Bruyne" away to our right-hand side. 6 minutes before half-time, and it is 1-0 to Manchester City here on Talk Sport. And Manchester City firmly in control of the football match, almost puffing their chest out and said, come on have a go if you think you're hard enough. We are a lot bigger, better, braver and more skillful than you. And they're quite comfortable to push the ball around and try and take on all comers, Manchester City, and they're doing it again. Here's Zinchenko with an elevated pass out towards the right hand side. Brahim Diaz into De Bruyne, back out to Brahim Diaz again. His movement's been good in the game, Brahim Diaz, both offensively and defensively. And he's standing right on the right side of the City attack at the moment as the ball goes out to the left, waiting for a switch of play. Here is Zinchenko. Foden again. There's no pressure on the ball here from Fulham. They're just happy to sit off and allow Manchester City to have it as far away from goal as possible.
It's like a training ground session where the manager say, right, well, you're going to play in one half of the pitch, because that's where every single player is right now. And it's attack v defence. You get everybody behind the ball, and we're not allowed to make a tackle until you get into your own 18-yard box. It's just crazy. You made a good point, Sam, before about how hard Man City work. Do you know if any of these players stop working hard, they don't get themselves in the team, and they're out the door. That's the way Pep Guardiola's got it.
Oh, great turn by De Bruyne, a low cross into the box, so it's pushed away by Rico, helped further clear by Fosu Mensah, comes back out towards the edge of the area, and City can't pounce upon it, and it's cleared away by Fulham up through the left-hand side. Seri forward now, trying to get into the opposition half of the field. He does that, and it comes out to Schürrle. Schürrle back into Sessegnon. How many touches do you think that Fulham players have had inside the 18-yard box away to our left in the game?
Well, it was at one. I think Schürrle, their best move of the game. He got to the byline, he pulled one back to the 6-yard box, and I think that was the only touch in the 18-yard box. In Man City's 18-yard box with Mitrovic, he got himself turned. He had a little strike at goal, but it got blocked. But apart from that one, I think Vieto had a left foot shot after about 7 or 8 minutes. Other than that, you know, it's been such a breeze for this back four and the goalkeeper of Manchester City, because they basically had nothing to do. You know, they'll probably wake up tomorrow if this game continues in the vein that it is now and they get that second goal. They'll wake up tomorrow and think, when are we playing Fulham? That's the type of feeling it is.
It feels a bit like that because of the fact that it's so quiet as well, doesn't it? I mean, It doesn't feel like a proper football match. It feels like, I've done a lot of youth team football, and it feels a bit like the atmosphere you get at some of those games. There's not that many people there, but there's about 30,000 people here tonight.
Yeah. We had a game behind closed doors a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember who it was now. Was it Man City? England, yeah. Yeah.
Against Croatia.
It's like, it feels like that. And I said, you know, the expectations sometimes of Manchester City fans, because of the way things have gone, let's say over the last 10 years, and it's just been catapulted into, you know, orbit, this football club. I mean, it's incredible the move that it's had. You know, because they've won things, maybe they take this League Cup and think, you know, do I really want to go and do I want to enjoy that in the freezing cold? Well, you know, if you want to be a massive club, like this club can be over the next 20, 30 years, then, you know, you remember the trophies that you win at the beginning of that journey. And this is probably one of those moments where, you know, it needs to be a little bit better in this stadium.
Certainly Pep Guardiola gave that press conference, didn't he, where he was talking about the Champions League and saying how important it is for the supporters to make sure that they show that they wanted their team to win that competition as well. Muric has just done a lovely bit of skill inside his own penalty area with his feet as he plays out for Manchester City. He's absolutely huge, Muric.
But they had Pantilimon here, didn't they, a few seasons ago? And it's the same kind of stature. I think he's
massive, isn't he?
He's probably bigger on the shoulders than what Pantilimon is, but he's comfortable with the ball at his feet. You know, they can trust in him when the ball gets played down to him, and the back four just spread out. He takes a touch, plays it out wide. Probably plays out in the five-a-sides when they have them during the week.
He was in the same youth team as Phil Foden, but you'd need 2 Phil Fodens to get to the size of Aaron Muric away to our left-hand side. Here is Diaz, who picks it up for City, moving towards the edge of the penalty area 90 seconds before half-time. Danilo across to De Bruyne. De Bruyne to Delph. Delph switches the play out to the right. It's collected by Diaz. Diaz tries to take on the defender, tucks it back to De Bruyne. He's crossed into the box. He's headed goalwards by the arriving Foden. Well, he was big enough to get up and get a header towards goal there. It was narrowly off target. A lovely flighty delivery from the right side by De Bruyne, and Foden arrived at just the right time, but he guided his header wide.
Standout players, and it's pretty difficult, you know, to pick certain individuals out when they've been so good. Man City, as Kevin De Bruyne, his work ethic's been absolutely outstanding, but his final pass is just a dream. I mean, it must have been an absolute dream to play alongside. But Phil Foden, again, his movement in the box, you know, he's not the tallest, you just mentioned it before, but just getting that little half a yard of space in the area. He knows that the pass is going to come into him. Just a deftest little touch off the left-hand side of his forehead. Looked as if it was going to creep into the bottom corner, but unfortunately, he's had a couple of little sniffs of goal in this first half, and that one was probably his best opportunity. Alex
Zinchenko saying this week that he believes that Phil Foden is one of the best young players in European football right now. Certainly he's well thought of by Manchester City. 10 seconds before the break, Manchester City lead by 1-0. Manchester City giving a problem for Slavisa Jokanovic, who says that he thought this game had arrived at a good time for his team. Not sure about that. He selected a strong team tonight as well. He'll be delighted it's just 1-0. Manchester City firmly in control of the match. 1 minute of added time at the end of the first 45. Forward towards Jesus, cut out by the huge Anguissa, who sends it back to Fosu Mensah. Seri tries to play it forward to Anguissa. They tie themselves in knots. Jesus takes over, dances into the box, beats 2 players, arrows the ball towards the far corner, and it just evades the upright. It may have taken a deflection on the way through. In fact, Martin Atkinson has pointed for a corner. That was a lovely slaloming, sashaying run from Gabriel Jesus.
Well, I don't know how many times I've said that the Fulham players would give it away just outside their own 18-yard box, but credit Jesus. You know, he was on the front foot, he was on his toes, he picked up the ball, a great little turn, fantastic ability again, and he just got the final part wrong, which was the most important bit, which was the strike on goal. It looks as if they come off the outside of his boot, and he got his strike completely wrong.
Here's De Bruyne to take the corner right at the end of the first half, in towards the near post. It's flicked away by Ryan Sessegnon, and Fulham survive that attack. Manchester City lead by 1-0. Brahim Diaz with the only goal of the first half. A deflected shot which evaded the goalkeeper Sergio Rico, but in truth that doesn't tell you anywhere near the story. 66% possession for Manchester City in that first half. 12 shots on goal, 4 on target, 5 corners in the game. There was one word of warning to Manchester City prior to the start of this game, and that was that the holders of the League Cup have been eliminated in the 4th round in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Ain't going to happen tonight. At the break, Manchester City 1, Fulham 0.
Yeah, it's all looking very good for Manchester City right now. Mickey, how do you assess then that first half?
Well, let's take nothing away from Manchester City. The way they've approached this game, Natalie, absolutely outstanding. They've done exactly what they needed to do, which was, you know, ball retention. The movement never changes on a weekly basis. Absolutely outstanding. Kevin De Bruyne You know, you talk about a player trying to bet himself back into a game. He's just phenomenal. His final pass is just outstanding. I've been really impressed with Phil Foden. Brahim Diaz, we mentioned quite a lot in that first half. Excellent. You know, everybody seems to know their job, and when they lose the ball, that 3-second rule of trying to win it back, well, what do you do if you're Fulham? They're getting everybody behind the ball, but the difficulty for them is they can't get out their own half because they're leaving Mitrovic up on his own stranded. Now, if it's not the perfect pass into his chest and he hasn't got runners off him, it's so difficult for him. So that's the problem that they got, because they keep giving the ball away at the back, they keep giving it away when they get into Man City's half, and it's very difficult for them. And they had a little opportunity through Vieto with his left foot, but he got no pace on it. Schürrle got to the byline, he pulled it back to Mitrovic, it got blocked, but other than that, they're just not in this game. You know, I talked about the wonderful football that they played last season in the Championship. Well, they've been outgunned tonight. You know, 68%, 67% from Man City. It could have been more than that. It's really scrappy. You can see there's a lack of confidence. The manager's got to go in at half-time, and I think the plus for them is they're still in the tie. It's only 1-0, so they have a chance to get back into the game. Yeah, as you say, it is only 1-0. So some positive for Savica Jokanovic to take away at this half-time break. Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he's got to go in. He's got to just try and get another 10 or 15% out of his players. If he can do that, I think they've got half a chance in this second half. But I think he has to try and change the system a little bit, because it's not working for them. They've got Sessegnon and Fosu-Mensah playing in those full-back positions. Now, we know Sessegnon loves to bomb forward. He likes to create opportunities and score goals. But from that position, when he's got Diaz and Danilo breaking down that right-hand side, it's very hard for him to get over the halfway line. Play the nice football, but play it in the right areas. The manager's got to just go in, maybe give his players a bit of a kick up the backside, because it looks like they're playing at 70-75% for me. There's certainly more in them, and if they've got energy, because they saved quite a lot in that first 45 minutes, other than chasing the ball around trying to win it back, come out in the second half and prove to your supporters and prove to your manager that you are good enough to play against teams like Man City. What have you made of Phil Foden? Because obviously we have to focus on him when he gets the chance to start for Manchester City. How's he got on in that first 45? So impressed with him, Natalie. I've not really seen him too many times in the flesh. I've seen clips of him on TV, and I've been so impressed with him. But his movement off the ball, maybe sometimes what the camera doesn't pick up when you're watching him on TV. He's so clever. He's always on the half turn. He's looking over his shoulder. He knows that there's going to be runners on the left and the right hand side of him. He tried to play a great ball through for Jesus. I think it was after about half an hour in the game, and it was a beautiful ball. But other than Rico coming off his line, the goalkeeper, to try and clear it, it was just absolutely out. It was Kevin De Bruyne-like. He knew that the run was going to be made, but he's had a couple of little looks at goal with his left foot. He had a little glancing header with when he got into the 6-yard box, but just missed the right hand side of the post. But we're talking about a future star, not just for Manchester City, but certainly for England. And it's strange when he's probably playing alongside Fabian Delph, who's kind of in and out of the England setup at the moment. Fabian Delph's probably looking at him thinking, this guy's going to take my place in the England squad over the next month or so, or next few 3 or 4 months, because he's that good. Pep Guardiola, and I understand now why he's speaking of him in such high terms. Well, it was interesting just to see the footage there of the players coming off the pitch. Alexander Mitrovic absolutely fuming he was with Denis Odoi. Be interesting to see what happens with that. Mickey, for now, thank you very much. So at the Etihad at half-time, it is the holders who are 45 minutes away from reaching the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup, and this is how we heard that first half on TalkSport.
Here's Sane flicking it on to Foden. Back to Sane again. A little deflection takes it to Foden, who shoots. It's parried into the penalty area. Comes back to De Bruyne, who tries to smack it goalwards. It took a deflection as he did so, and spirals over the top and goes out for another Manchester City corner. Here's Delph with a flighted delivery towards the far post. It's nudged down by company into the path of Brahim Diaz. Takes a major deflection as he strikes it. It eludes Sergio Rico, and Manchester City have the lead inside 16 minutes. Tim Ream, I think, may have got the final touch, but Manchester City won't care. It was a little nudge off the thigh from Company into the path of Diaz, and when he struck it from about 10 yards out, he didn't hit it cleanly, but it cannoned off Ream, and that caused Rico all sorts of problems. 1-0. Oh, lovely turn from Jesus as he received the pass from Brahim Diaz. He gets into the box and low cross into the near post. Diaz tries to nudge it against the goalkeeper. Rico makes a save, and it's cleared away by Fulham towards the near side. De Bruyne's got it back again though. Danilo produces a cross towards Sane, far stick, he brings it down, comes infield, sets up Foden, who is leaning back as he struck it from a 45-degree angle just left of the 6-yard box, and it flies over the top of the goal that Rico is defending and into the City fans behind the goal.
Friday the 16th of November, two giants of world football bring you a spectacular night of South American soccer. Brazil versus Uruguay at the Emirates Stadium, London. See the sensational skills of Neymar, Coutinho, Suarez, Cavani and local hero Lucas Torreira. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Tickets are available from £30 for adults and £15 for under 16s. Get yours at arsenal.com/tickets. Don't miss Brazil versus Uruguay at the Emirates Stadium, 16th of November. A £2 postage fee and £1.70 per ticket booking fee applies.
Virgin Trains. Faster than the speed of car. You can't get done for speeding in a train. And also faster than the speed of plane. You don't have to arrive at the train station an hour before. Faster than the speed of cheetah. Cheetahs are fast, but they don't go to Manchester. I actually can't think of anything faster than the speed of train. The speed of sound? Well, it's pretty fast, but you can't sit on it. The speed of light? Again, it's rapid, but it doesn't have a toilet or a plug for your laptop. So we win. Virgin Trains, London to Manchester in just 2 hours, 6 minutes.
Kickstart your love life at TalkSportSingles.com. It's online dating in a different league. TalkSportSingles.com teams you up with loads of like-minded people in your area already looking for someone special. It's the perfect match you won't forget. Sign up today. You can set up your profile and even browse for compatible local partners, all for free. Don't be a spectator. Get a result in the dating game at TalkSportSingles.com. Monthly subscription applicable on activation.
Everyone knows it pays to shop around for the best energy plan. But if only there was a website which did all the hard work for you. Now there is. It's called switchcraft.co.uk. It finds the best energy plan for you and keeps you on the best deal automatically, helping customers save up to £518 a year on energy bills. Best of all, it's totally free. Switchcraft.co.uk, the one-stop, no-hassle route to cheaper energy. Start saving now at switchcraft.co.uk. The best deal forever.
Still haven't signed up for TalkSport Selco Predictor? Why not? There are a million good reasons why you should. The Selco Predictor. Sign up now at talksport.com/predictor and use your footballing foresight for the chance to become a millionaire. £1 million. Plus, there's a grand up for grabs every month for the Selco Predictor top scorer and an unforgettable trip to Las Vegas for the highest points tally at the season's end. The Selco Predictor. Download the Selco app now or sign up for free at talksport.com/predictor.
Have you ever told a little white lie when your doctor asks how much you drink? It's easy to kid ourselves about our drinking, but the truth is, drinking alcohol most nights can be harmful to your health. Did you know? Alcohol can raise your blood pressure, which increases the risk of a heart attack, and the more you drink, the greater the risk. Drinking less by having more drink-free days is an easy way to reduce this risk. Remember, there's only one you, so be more drink-aware. See how at drinkfreedays.co.uk.
He's beaten the defender. He's got past the last man. Just the keeper to beat. Oh, he's tripped over his own feet.
Some opportunities you can't miss. Like ComeOn.com's free bet offer. Bet £10 with us and we'll give you a £10 free bet.
Oh, yes! Come on!
Join at ComeOn.com. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Bet responsibly at ComeOn.com. New UK mainland customers only. Minimum £10 bet on odds of 1.8 or more qualifies for £10 free bet. Terms apply.
Hi there, I've got a package from Mr. Peters.
Oh, lovely. We're just up the stairs. Past the Archer turret, up the 80-foot hot tar wall, over the moat with the crocodile, then left.
Okay.
But if you see a wall of sharpened logs, you've gone too far. So go right until you see the steel spiked gate. Go through there, then over the narrow bridge with the sharp drop.
Right.
And we're the lilac door surrounded by the wisteria in full bloom.
Fortify your home with BT Broadband. All our customers get BT Virus Protect with McAfee and parental controls included as standard. BT. Be there.
You want a quality van at an everyday price? Well, this could be just the deal you're looking for.
What's that coming over the hill? Van Monster.
Right now at Van Monster, we've got incredible offers like these 2014 Peugeot Partners from only £68 a month, with features like Part-X available for your old van as standard. See all the vans and all the deals right now at vanmonster.com. Conditions apply. Deposit payable. Offers to business users only.
As you caught your breath, they held their nerve. As you lifted your voice, they raised the stakes. And when the time came, they upped their game. Listen to Jim White next Friday morning from 10 for the ultimate Premier League pre-match briefing with big flex raisers. From individual heroics to game-changing teamwork. What will be the potential peak performances ahead of this weekend's top-flight football action? Something for the weekend on Talk Sport, sponsored by Big Flex Razors. The smooth way to up your game.
And that's it.
Never miss a goal.
It's into the bottom corner.
Kick-off League Cup Special
with Natalie Sawyer
And it's in again.
on Talk Sport.
Well, TalkSport are supporting Movember. We want you to get involved to grow a moustache for Movember, and you could inspire conversations, donations and deliver real change to stop men dying too young. Sign up or donate now at Movember.com. Now, the Sunday Times Sportswoman of the Year Awards is taking place tonight, and we can hear from Jessica Ennis-Hill, who was full of praise for the European gold medal winner, Dina Asher-Smith.
I watched every performance that she did out there, and she was just absolutely incredible from start to finish. I had no worry or anxiety that she wasn't going to do it because she was so focused, so determined. And she had last year, which was a tough year for her with her injury, but she still managed to make the World Championship team. She still managed to come fourth in the final. So for her to come back from that kind of situation, I know how hard it is to come back from injury. She's just a true champion, and she's a sprinting superstar really on a global stage.
Plenty to come then from the Sunday Times Sportswoman of the Year Awards here on Talk Sport. Don't forget, from 10 o'clock, the Sports Bar will be open for business with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy. I'm sure Manchester City and Fulham fans will want to air their views following the finish at the Etihad, where currently the holders City lead Fulham by 1-0. Mickey Gray is a part of the commentary team watching this one then for us. And Mickey, Fulham then maybe lucky to be only 1-0 down at half-time. It was a surprisingly strong lineup that Slavisa Jokanovic put out tonight, but they have been outplayed by much changed Manchester City 11.
Yeah, well, they've certainly been outplayed, Natalie. There's no doubt about that. 14 attempts on goal from Man City, 4 on target, and 3 attempts from Fulham and 1 on target. And I think that basically says it all. A lot of possession from Man City. Fulham just getting everybody behind the ball. And you look at the bench at Fulham and you wonder if they can make changes. I think before this game we had a conversation about, instilling confidence into the players. Well, it's probably been, dampened even more. It's probably the nicest way I can put it.
Yeah.
Because they haven't really got into the game. So, you bring on, 2 or 3 fresh faces in the second half and you say to them, right, give us a little bit of spark. But where's that going to come from? Is it going to be young players? Is it going to be somebody like Cyrus Christie or Steven Sessegnon? If they come onto the field, are they good enough to play against this Man City team? Because all they seem to be doing is just chasing around, chasing shadows. It's very hard for them. But you have to credit Man City. Look, as well as Man City have played, they've put in the performance, they've put in the work rate. People like Kevin De Bruyne, he's hardly played this season. I think it's his 3rd appearance. He looks like he's not been away. He just come back into the team, they fit in, his movement off the ball and his final ball has just been absolutely incredible, outstanding to watch. And who's going to stop Man City the way they're playing at the moment? Everybody's full of confidence. It's hard for Fulham. But it was said to you at half-time, Natalie, it's still 1-0. They've got an opportunity to get themselves back into this game. But if they keep playing the way they are, there's only Man City going to get the 2nd and the 3rd goal. So they've got to try and change it up, come up with a different formula in the second half. Forget about playing football in your first third of the pitch. Get the ball up to the big man up front and try and make something happen. It might not be pretty, but it might get you through to the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, indeed. Just to remind you, of course, Fulham had made 3 changes, City 10 changes to their previous lineup. You mentioned the Fulham bench. The only way I can describe the City bench is disgusting because it's just so impressive, Mickey.
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it? Look, and I said, the camaraderie at this club seems to be as good as it's ever been, Natalie. Players get left out of the team. They're not bothered. They wait for their opportunity, and when they're given that opportunity, they know that they're fitting into a fantastic team. So you've got people like Aguero, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Sterling, Kyle Walker on the bench, and it's like, oh my God, if they make subs, they're going to be even better than this first 11 that started the game. So it's incredible. And Guardiola, you know, he gets this, he's pointed across to his players to say, look, you give me everything that you've got. When you need a rest, I know when you're going to need a rest, but you play the way I want you to play, which is impressive, exciting football every week. I mean, any player on this planet would want to play in this Manchester City team right now. The disappointing thing for me, Natalie, we talked about it in the first 45 minutes, me and Sam, was the atmosphere in the ground.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. It's been very subdued.
It is, and I've been to this ground. Look, I was here a couple of seasons ago when they played Real Madrid in the semi-finals of the Champions League, and I know they've got this argument with the UEFA at the moment with the song that comes on before the games. They booed that. I think they've stopped doing that right now. But I came that evening, a semi-final of the Champions League, and it was pretty much the same. It was very flat. But it's like they come to this ground now and there's expectancy here. Oh, well, we're going to win this game. Or do I really need to go outside and just sit and enjoy the football that I'm going to see for 90 minutes? And that's what it feels like tonight. The players have had to G themselves up because it's not coming from the crowd. I hope that changes over the season to come. Pep Guardiola's, he's criticised the supporters on certain occasions, even Champions League football. I think he wants a little bit more from them because the players are given everything that they've got. I think he expects the supporters to do exactly the same thing. Yeah,
I was going to say, it's not like the performances haven't merited that vocal support that they need. The players are making their way out now then for the second half, so let's hand you back to your commentary team. Mickey Gray is alongside Sam Matterface.
Yeah, welcome back. Fulham have already lost here 3-0 this season. In fact, Manchester City have won their last 6 games against Fulham. It will soon be 7. Manchester City in light blue and white shorts with dark blue socks are shooting from right to left in the second half here against a Fulham team that, as you already said, Natalie, made 3 changes from the defeat in the game against Bournemouth at the weekend. But it hasn't changed much of their fortune. Still defensively, they look a little bit naive. They are a young team. Only Leicester City have got a younger average starting 11 over the course of this season so far, and it's very much looked like that in the opening exchanges here. Manchester City, by comparison, firmly in control of the football match, and not exactly taking it easy, but strolling through the first 45. And Fulham have got to stop them from doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam, absolutely. It surprised me that they haven't really made any changes at half-time. And I'm talking about Man City here. But, you know, you talk about the fringe players who maybe need that 90 minutes, or they've been waiting in the wings for their opportunity because they're very difficult to come by when you see the football that they're playing in the Premier League every week. So the players out there, people like Foden, people like Fabian Delph, who are not playing regular football, they're getting 90 minutes under the belt. Pep Guardiola, he hasn't really been very irate in the technical area. He's just letting the players get on with it because he's happy with what he's seeing. He probably knows that his players are having an easy ride at the moment, but he won't sit on his laurels because I think him, as much as the players and everybody in this stadium, I know the atmosphere is not great, probably expecting them to get that second goal, then they can really settle down.
Here's Foden picking it up on halfway, motoring towards the edge of the penalty area. He's found Jesus, who's eluded 2 markers, a third and then a fourth, pulls it back to the edge of the area, can't find Delph. A tackle comes in by Vieto. It was very late on Delph, and it's going to be a free kick just left of the edge of the D. But once again, Gabriel Jesus getting in behind the defence and causing all sorts of problems. Manchester City being driven forward by Foden, and then, well, I'm not entirely sure what Frank Zambo Anguissa was doing. He was just sort of following Jesus around.
Sticking a leg out.
There was no real attempt at a challenge.
Yeah, Anguissa and Fosu-Mensah are chasing down Gabriel Jesus. He just drops a shoulder, he gets himself to the byline. You're right, there's nobody trying to make a challenge. 2 or 3 challenges where they just stand off him. He ends up playing the ball out to the edge of the 18-yard box because he's blocked and he can't get his shot off. The challenge then comes in, and it's more just sticking a leg out. It's not, right, I'm going to win this ball here and I'm going to get on the counter-attack. It's languid for me. It's like the players don't want to go out there. The Fulham players I'm talking about now don't want to get injured for the game coming up on Monday evening.
Free kick then to be taken by Danilo. Zinchenko is alongside him as well, but it will be the Brazilian, I think, who's going to take this free kick. There's a 5-man Fulham wall who are just behind the 18-yard line, and he steps up right-footed over the wall. It took a little deflection on the way through and then bounces out for a corner to Manchester City, who lead by just the 1 goal to nil, scored by Brahim Diaz. in the 19th minute of the first half. 1-0.
Chopping and changing the free kicks around as well. You know, Kevin De Bruyne had a very good one in the first half. That was dipping. It didn't quite dip quick enough to get under the crossbar.
Here is Sane with the corner into the near post. Jesus with a header over the top of the crossbar. Couldn't get the strength on that. And it's over the top of the crossbar.
Sam, I mean, we're sitting watching this second half started now, and I was speaking to Natalie at half-time to say, what do Fulham need to do? Well, they need to change it up. Stop playing out from the back. You know, change it up a little bit. Try and get Mitrovic involved in the game a little bit more. You're sat alongside me. I don't see any change, and I don't think you see it either.
No changes in the way that they're approaching it. They're still same system, same personnel, same modus operandi. They did just have a goal kick, and instead of playing it out from the back on that occasion, they've gone to kick it long. But same result, I'm afraid. Manchester City have won it back very quickly and have started to come forward once more. Rico again kicks it longer this time, up over the halfway line to Mitrovic. This time he chests it down, brings it into feet, then sends it back to Kenny, who releases Mitrovic, who gets to the edge of the area, bundles away from Delph, gets away from Zinchenko. He's got 4 around him. He's still going for it, but Manchester City get numbers back in the end, and Kevin De Bruyne nabs the ball and brings it clear for the home team. Here comes Foden up to halfway. That was a bit better from Fulham. That's probably an area in which they can exploit. It's played down the left blow towards Jesus by Foden. Again, he's attacking the 6-yard box. Foden's got there again. It comes out to Sane on the left side, and then he recycles it, and Manchester City start again. Sane with gloves on, trying to take on Fosu Mensah, who bullies him and then pushes him to the floor. Free kick given in City's favour.
Well, at least they're starting to make a few challenges, which is nice from a Fulham perspective. But you're right, you know, they're starting to get the ball up to Mitrovic now. We're now starting to see a little bit of a change in the format of the way they're playing in the second half. Get the ball up to Mitrovic, get players around him. And what happens? Mitrovic gets himself turned. He gets into the 18-yard box. Yes, it didn't come to anything. You keep giving them opportunities like that, we know he can score goals.
Well, they've taken a free kick. They've played 2 passes. No one's challenged them yet. Here's Sane down the left side. Header towards goal by Jesus. Should have scored.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a perfectly crafted opportunity because Fulham allowed them to do it. They took a free kick really quickly. Fulham weren't watching, completely switched off. Zinchenko has got the ball off De Bruyne and then given it back to him before anyone's even got anywhere near him.
Absolutely. As a player, you can't switch off. When you've got a free kick, I think everybody was expecting the ball to be whipped into the 18-yard box. It's not going to happen. They work it down this left-hand side. 3 or 4 passes before anybody even switched on from a Fulham perspective to try and make that challenge to stop the cross coming into the area. It's too late by that time. Jesus free header, and again, hits the target. He should score.
5 minutes gone second half. Same old story for Fulham at the moment. It's 1-0 to Manchester City. Jesus trying to bundle his way, puts pressure on first Seri and then on Tim Ream. And then Fulham managed to get it clear up to Kearney. On the right side is Vieto. Vieto motoring forward. He's got some support for Schürrle. Schürrle, long and lean, sends it out to the wide right position. It's Fosu Mensah running along the 18-yard line. Gives it to Phil Foden. And Foden brings it clear and runs up towards the halfway line and then switches the play out to the right. Jesus collects it well. He's got weapons coming either side. Danilo speeding into the box, gets there ahead of Ryan Sessegnon, produces the cross. Adoy heads it away as Rico came but couldn't collect, and then Sane takes it out to the near touchline and waits, and it goes out for a throw to Manchester City.
Brilliant play from Phil Foden, very direct. He gets himself turned. He's got one thing in mind. He sees grass in front of him. He's going to run into it. Lovely little ball out to the right-hand side, Danilo. They've got runners off the ball. On this occasion, there was only Sane in the area. It was a decent ball into the box, and a last-ditch challenge from Sessegnon just to clear his lines.
Here's Vieto trying to speed away from that throw-in which City had inside Fulham territory. He doesn't get to halfway before the ball ends up going back to the Fulham defence. Vieto then falls over under a challenge from De Bruyne, and City have got it back again. And here is the Belgian just cushioning the ball out to Brahim Diaz, who scored the only goal of the game so far. And City once again control possession and try and build from the back. 1-0 they lead. You're listening to Talk Sport live at the Etihad Stadium. A lot of people haven't come out for the second half, are sitting around us, by the way. They've stayed in that bar behind us. Here is Sane moving towards the edge of the area, onto De Bruyne. De Bruyne trying to curl it in towards the far corner, and it was arcing back towards the far post, but not enough to trouble Sergio Rico.
You always look at certain players and you think their performance deserves a goal, and I think Foden and Kevin De Bruyne, maybe Jesus as well. He's not been prolific in front of goal this season. Well, I think their performances tonight certainly merit goals. They've had a little look at goal, but they just haven't had that killer instinct when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net. Yes, they're in front, but how many opportunities are they going to let get away from them? Because they do. They're still important. Need that second goal.
1-0. Fulham fans are behind the goal away to our right. The goal that they're attacking in this second half. Well, I was going to say attacking. The goal in which they're supposed to be attacking. Lovely turn by Foden, who goes past Anguissa, moves towards the edge of the D. He's got support arriving. He plays in Diaz down the right side, who can't just take it in his stride. It just slips over the top of his boots and goes behind and away for a goal kick, but that's a really good run by Foden. He received it, got whacked from behind and still continued, used his body to swerve away from Anguissa, and then got into an advanced position to play in Brahim Diaz down the right side. He just couldn't connect with the ball. Well,
a different part of the field, but if you can remember Dennis Bergkamp when he scored his goal against Newcastle at St James's Park, when he span it around the defender when the ball was played him, that's what Phil Foden has just done. Absolutely brilliant, and that's just being aware of players that are around you. Zambo Anguissa tries to close him down. He just flicks it round the side of him, turns his body the other way, and then just makes another counter-attacker move. It's just class to watch. I think that's the word I've got to use for Phil Foden. He's been brilliant tonight.
Both Diaz and Foden have shone this evening here under the floodlights at the Etihad Stadium. 10 minutes gone, second half, 1-0 to Manchester City. Here's Zinchenko down the left looking for Sane. Sane trying to hold on to it. This time it's a bit too much for him to do, and it goes behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. It's very difficult to argue with the start to the season that Manchester City have made. They are actually in a worse position this season than last, and the fact that they had a 5-point lead by this stage of the Premier League campaign. However, it does feel as if others have got better rather than any deficiencies creeping into Manchester City's game. In fact, when I've watched Manchester City with the naked eye, I think they've looked even better.
They look more organised to me, Sam. I think that's the way you can put it. Look, the players are pretty similar. Yes, Mahrez has came into the team, and people like Laporte have upped their game. Looks absolutely outstanding this season. But, you know, to a man, they know their jobs. But how many tests have they had this season? I think that's one question you've got to ask. Did they get a test against Tottenham? I think when they got the first goal, they probably looked as if they were the better side. Liverpool, maybe.
Much a better side against Tottenham.
Yeah, absolutely. Liverpool was maybe a test for them. Lyon, when they lost the game,
they should have won that game against Liverpool, though, shouldn't they?
Yeah,
With
they had
the last
opportunities.
minute penalty.
But are they getting a test tonight? Well, the answer to that is no. And I'm looking on the field now. Yes, it's a cold evening. We've talked about people like Sane, who's got a pair of gloves on, but you can have a look at Luciano Vietto out on this right-hand side. He's got one of the Under Armour tops under his shirt. He's got it pulled over his hands. Does that look to you like a player who wants to be out playing a game of football? To me, I'd love to be playing against somebody like that. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
He did spend last season at Valencia, and he's on loan from Atletico Madrid.
Well, so he wants to play in the sunshine.
Quite a considerable drop in temperature, Michael. Here is Sane down the left side, moving towards the edge of the box. He takes on Fosu Mensah, not once but twice, and then clips the ball in towards the near post, but there's no power in the shot, and it's hooked away by Sergio Rico, who grabs it and then moves it forward. Again, the process in the first half was to kick short. In the second half, it has been to kick long right from the off. It hasn't really changed much, but certainly it's a different tactic from Fulham in this second 45. Still losing by a goal to nil. De Bruyne has won it in midfield. Challenge comes in from Anguissa, who bundles past Diaz and moves out towards the left-hand side. He looks up, tucks it back infield. Here's Tom Kearney. Infield to Seri. Kearney just in front of the centre circle for Fulham, wearing white shirts, black shorts, attacking the goal away to our right. And now it's with Kearney again, who helps it out towards the left. Anguissa onto Ryan Sessegnon, who's trying to get the better of Danilo, the right full-back, but can't do so, and it's kicked out of play and away for a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area.
Great challenge from Danilo, but also better from Fulham because they're now starting to get the full-backs involved. I don't think Sessegnon got himself over the halfway line in the first 45 minutes. He's now breaking down the left-hand side, using that pace, and we know he's got the ability to do that. And that's what they have to do. Another thing I've been pointing out, and I don't want to be overcritical of Fulham, but if things aren't going well for you on the pitch, sometimes you look to your manager, and your manager shouts on information and says, come on, you've got to give me a little bit more here. And this is not good enough. I don't think Ivanovic has kind of got that in his mould, has he? He's the type of manager who just stands there and watches a game.
Here comes Schürrle for Fulham into the area, right-footed shot, which is a tame effort. And it's always given straight to Muric, but Muric then went to bowl it out and lost control of it, spilt it, and then had to regather the ball before eventually finding De Bruyne, who then picks it up halfway line, scoots it out towards the left. He's looking for the run of Sane. Fosu-Mensah gets there first, nudges it towards the corner flag, rescues it from going out for a set piece, and then clears it upfield. Vieto, with a half-hearted flick, gives it straight back to Delph, midway inside the Fulham half of the field. And Fulham once again surrender the ball far too cheaply. 13.5 gone, second 45. 1-0 to Manchester City live on TalkSport tomorrow night. And we've got Aston Villa Bolton from the Championship on 2. Saturday, back-to-back commentaries for the Premier League. John Motson will be doing the game on TalkSport 2 from Saturday at 3 o'clock from the London Stadium. I'll be at the Emirates for Arsenal against Liverpool, the big game of the weekend, live on TalkSport at 5:30 this Saturday night. Stuart Pearce will be alongside me for that, and Laura Woods as well. And then on Saturday evening, we're a little bit later than usual, 7:45 kickoff, Wolves against Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh, good game. Wolves need to get themselves back onto winning ways.
I felt sorry for Wolves on Saturday. I thought they did really well against Brighton. I was at the game, and they created a lot of chances, didn't take them. Matt Doherty down that right-hand side.
Yeah, good player.
Fantastic.
Good player. They're going to have spells in the season, Sam, where things aren't going to go their way. Bouncing straight up from the Championship, but I've tipped them to finish in the top half of the table this season because I think they're good enough.
Here on the right side is De Bruyne. Back to Danilo. Manchester City seem to be quite comfortable once again. That's comfortable with an old leather couch, and they look very much as if they're reclining on it at the moment. Some of them actually could probably go and sit on a couch and it would still be okay. Here is De Bruyne out towards the right side, tries to jump infield, exchanges passes with Diaz. Oh, that's good, neat footwork by Brahim Diaz, who gets the ball onto his right foot, gets the shot away, but it was tame when he eventually hit it. Didn't have the power that was required from the edge of the 18-yard box, and it's easily saved by Sergio Rico. Still 1-0 to Manchester City. Oh, they've given the ball away again. This time it goes towards the right, and Sergio Rico is furious with himself because his delivery, when they tried to play out this time, that's the first time in the second half they tried to do that, wasn't good enough, and Fulham didn't deal with it, and it comes straight back from Manchester City again.
Football's about learning from your mistakes, and I don't think Fulham have done that. We talk about the long balls that they've tried to play up to Mitrovic, which they have done in this second half a lot more, but then starting to play out from the back again, and we know that Man City will pounce on you within those 3 seconds. They win the ball back high. People like Diaz having a very good game out that right-hand side. He's in the mould of Bernardo Silva and David Silva, not at that quality yet, but you can see why Guardiola likes him.
Only 19 years of age, has been linked with Real Madrid, who have been circling because he's out of contract at the end of the season. He wants to play more games. How much effort do you put in to keep hold of him? Because as I was talking to Maurizio Pochettino in the tunnel last night, and he was saying about the fact that Spurs keep getting accused of not signing enough players, and he said, well, we've only got a 25-man squad. There's no room for a new player. Then why do I don't need to bring one in?
Well, he hasn't panicked, whether he had the money or not to spend in the summer, Tottenham. He hasn't panicked and thought, well, we need to bring in a couple of fresh faces.
But the point being, there's only a certain number of places in that first team squad for a young player or for anyone emerging.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that, but I think Pochettino is one of those type of managers which you've seen at Southampton and at Tottenham. He's not frightened to give a young man an opportunity. I know Harry Kane got his opportunity before he came to the club, but he's now the catalyst of their team. He's the main man, the striker, the goal scorer, and he just trusts in the players that he's got at his disposal.
Pep Guardiola not afraid to give minutes to young players as well. 5 appearances last season for Brahim Diaz. Phil Foden got enough appearances under his belt to win a Premier League winners' medal. He's the youngest ever person to do that. Here is Schürrle moving towards the edge of the area, then beyond it to the byline, produces a cross. Kearney can't take it. And it's cleared away by Manchester City, and Sane races towards the near touchline but can't keep it under control, and it goes out of play on this near side and away for a throw. Sergio Aguero's just gone down the tunnel. I wonder if that's to get dressed to take part in this game, maybe finish off Fulham. Can already see away to our left that Raheem Sterling is warming up now as well. Again, a reminder today that although the news came out that a contract had been verbally agreed, I have checked and double-checked with Manchester City, who are insistent that talks are ongoing and positive, but nothing sorted yet.
I think it will get sorted, Sam.
I think it will as well. They want to keep him, don't they?
He's enjoying
They're pretty clear on that, Manchester City. They want him to be a part of their future. And why wouldn't you? Here's De Bruyne, forward towards the left. It's picked up by Sane, who stole in from Fosu Mensah, who was too weak. It's Sane into the area, he hits the side netting. Martin Atkinson may well bring this back because he thinks there was a foul in the build-up to that. But Fosu Mensah was far too weak as he was brushed aside by Leroy Sane, who really should have hit the target.
And what happened? Fulham giving the ball away on the centre circle. There was a little tug on Fosu Mensah from Sane. But again, he's on the front foot. He wants to win the ball back in the right areas. We know he's got blistering pace. Fosu Mensah just touches it inside with his right foot. There is a little tug on the shoulder. So Martin Atkinson probably got that one right. He's not had much to do tonight, the referee. I think he got that one perfectly right.
I think he was looking forward, Martin Atkinson, to getting back out in the middle with a VAR trial. Another trial for the VAR experiment tonight.
You a fan?
Yeah. It will come in at the beginning of the next season. I'm pretty certain of that. It was going to come in everywhere else. So eventually, if you don't use it, then you're end up going to be behind the 8 ball, aren't you? Yeah. So you've got to. I'd rather be a league that leads the way than someone who ends up having to play catch up when everybody else has already started to move into new territory.
I think we all know that it still needs a little bit of tweaking, Sam. You know, there's no doubt about that. But you know, the way the game's moving forward now, the pace of the football, I think, you know, it's completely changed from 9 years ago when I used to play. The game's quicker, the players are more powerful.
You were still playing 9 years ago? I didn't know you played into your 40s. Here is Jesus round the back of the defender. He turns it past the goalkeeper, hits the post, comes back to Brahim Diaz, who slashes the ball into the roof of the net. City dancing their way through the Fulham defence once more, and Brahim Diaz is at the double. This morning in the papers it was reported that he wasn't getting enough time on the pitch playing football. Well, he's played tonight for 65 minutes. He's scored 2 goals for Manchester City and surely shot them through to the quarter-finals of the Carabao Cup. Brahim Diaz with the goal. It's Manchester City 2, Fulham 0.
I can't pay him a bigger accolade than saying that he could be like Bernardo Silva and David Silva in years to come if he's still wearing a Manchester City shirt. Well, again, you know, great opportunity. Jesus this time gets it worked into the 18-yard box. Wonderful play again from Sane. A give and go. Well worked from Jesus. Comes off the post. Probably thought he was going to score himself, but who's there? Brahim Diaz. 2 or 3 Fulham players standing around him, but nobody closing him down when the ball bounces back off the post. And a great little finish with his left foot into the top right-hand corner. Gives the keeper Rico absolutely no chance. And I have to say, game done and dusted, because they've been waiting for that second goal, and it has now come.
Well, it was well taken, wasn't it, from Brahim Diaz? But if you just go back and have a look at that, when the ball comes back off the post, Brahim Diaz has the opportunity, and he's, a yard outside the 6-yard box, to stop the ball, shift it onto his left foot, take his time and whack it into the top corner.
Does that say it all? Does that say it all about these Fulham players? Are you at it? That's one of the questions you ask yourself as a player. Well, no, they're not. Their closing down's been really poor tonight. Yes, it's okay getting everybody behind the ball, but you have to work when you get behind the ball as a unit. Well, they haven't done that all evening, and they've been punished twice. And we could be talking about a 6 or 7-0 performance from Man City right now, the opportunities that they've had.
Now, Manchester City, obviously well worth the 2-goal advantage, if not more than what they have racked up so far. Pep Guardiola sitting on the touchline. He's just talking to Mikel Arteta. They're going to make a change here, Fulham, and they're going to bring on a defender. Here is Zinchenko on the halfway line. Back to Vincent Kompany, who clips it high into the night sky. Onto Diaz, Diaz onto De Bruyne, De Bruyne towards the right edge of the area. Oh, a lovely ball into the 6-yard box, which Dennis Adoy had to deal with. It was a fizzer from the right side. It was almost cutting the pitch in two. And it was so sharp, that ball in from the right side from Kevin De Bruyne. And Adoy had to get in front of Phil Foden and the on-rushing Gabriel Jesus and give away another corner.
Oh, it's just brilliant play. You know, and Kevin De Bruyne, he's got so much time when the ball comes into his feet. He takes it out of his feet, he has a look up, and again, his final ball is just absolutely superb.
Here's the corner in towards the near post, and it's headed goalwards by John Stones, flicked away by Rico, comes back to Company. Here's Brahim Diaz into the box, and then it's cleared by Vieto, who gets a push in the back from Company, and a free kick is given. Now Manchester City lead by 2-0. City the top scorers in the Premier League, and the fact that they have the best defence tells you that Fulham are going to find it very difficult indeed in order to try and get back into this game. But they are making a change, and TalkSport's Don McGuinness can tell you about it.
Well, Tim Ream leaves the field and Max Le Marchand is on. It's interesting because Cyrus Christie had been called in by Jukanovic. He was ready to go. When their second goal went in, he has wrapped up again, sat down, and it's Le Marchand who gets a nod. Similarly, City are about to throw on Bernardo Silva, but he remains rooted for now.
Interesting that they've decided to bring on Maxime Le Marchand for Tim Ream. I mean, it doesn't look like Tim Ream's got an injury. He's just sat down in the dugout and zipped his coat up. Is that to try and get a little bit more organisation in the back line? I know he started the season and had a few problems, didn't he? Missed the first 7 games, I think, because of injury. Tim Ream. Here's Sane weaving his way into the box. He's got support from Foden outside him. He manages to produce a cross to the back post. He's headed a cross goal by Diaz. Comes towards Jesus. Can't turn it goalwards.
The positive for Man City is, which is great, is, you know, everybody wants to get in the 18-yard box because they know that the service is going to come in, whether it's from this left-hand side or the right-hand side with Kevin De Bruyne. The quality always seems to be there. The movement's fantastic. Jesus making runs into the 6-yard box. Every time they get there, the fear factor on these Fulham players at the back is like, oh, here we go again. Give the ball away, an opportunity for Man City. You know, they can afford to make changes. No, Fulham have just made that change. I just wonder when the time is for Jukanovic to think, who do I rest? Do I keep Mitrovic for Monday? Do I keep him fresh because this game's now, you know, done and dusted, to be honest with you?
Is that what he did with Tim Ream?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the type of player, you know.
Maybe it is, yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of looking at players and think, well, I've got to keep them fresh and fit for the Premier League.
Here comes City with Foden up to Sane, doesn't reach him, comes to Danilo, who's moved into midfield almost, out wide to Brahim Diaz, who reaches the right edge of the penalty area before being dispossessed, and it's cleared away towards the halfway line. And it's still 2-0 to Manchester City. Did City kick into gear because they thought that Pep Guardiola might be looking towards the substitutes bench? Is that a possibility? Light a few fireworks underneath 1 or 2?
Well, I think it's how they managed the game, Sam. You know, if it was a different scoreline, let's say 0-0, I think he probably would have made a couple of substitutions before this. But, you know, it's been such a breeze for them tonight. You know, I said before, you know, they'll probably wake up tomorrow and think, have we actually had a game? Certain players, you know, Vincent Kompany and John Stones, they've not really had anything to do. So maybe he was just looking over his shoulder thinking, right, who can I give a little bit of game time to do? I think, you know, Don was down there. He was having a look at Bernardo Silva, who might be coming onto the field, but that's the last thing Fulham need, is some players like that coming onto the field.
Well, Gabriel Jesus has just taken a little whack from Dennis Adoy, unnecessarily so. Jesus not happy about it. Martin Atkinson is just having a word in the ear of Dennis Adoy. He's allowed play to continue. 27 minutes played, second half, 2-0 to Manchester City on TalkSport. The home of boxing, cricket and football too. Loads on TalkSport 2 and TalkSport over the next few days. Lovely run by Zinchenko. A run from in to out by Sane, and then he goes in and out Dennis Adoy, who's late with the challenge again. And this time the referee wants a word with Dennis Adoy because he's taken the legs away of Leroy Sane. Martin Atkinson pointing to the centre circle saying, you've just done Gabriel Jesus. You've now had a little nibble at Leroy Sane. Anything else you do, I'm afraid you're going in the book.
Yeah, well, he's been quite lenient, Martin Atkinson, tonight. You know, there hasn't really been any crazy challenges, but when you're stretching out like that, like Adoy did with Sane, before he's even touched the ball, there's only one thing going to happen, and that's he's going to give a foul away. But it hasn't been a nasty game at all. But Kevin De Bruyne has stood over this one.